and welcome to the Keiwear Show, where we talk about life, love, and the pursuit of happiness. I'm your host, Keisha Mayo, and we have an awesome show for you on today. Today, we have Bishop Robert Butler and his First Lady, Lady ARTELL Butler. Welcome to the show, and thank you so much for accepting my invitation. Please introduce yourself to my viewers.
I am Bishop Robert Vincent Butler II, the pastor of the Glory Church out here in Brooklyn. And this is her, Lady Artell Butler, First Lady. Y'all know her. She's First Lady.
First Lady. But it's such a pleasure having y'all on the show today. I'm so excited. And I really wanted y'all to come on because I don't know if you remember, Bishop, you had preached at my church, Morning Star Full Gospel Assembly. And you mentioned that during your sermon, you mentioned you was married for a certain amount of years, but at one time you almost, messed up the relationship where I guess y'all were about to get divorced. And so I was thinking about, the play that I'm doing is called Love Conquers All. And there's so many, people going through divorces today, and just to see how God, even through the times where y'all thought y'all were going to get divorced, God brought y'all back together. I wanted y'all to, just encourage my viewers to let them know that there is hope. That you don't have to get divorced, because it seems like, a lot of marriages, especially in church, are going through that. But let's start with, how did y'all meet?
Tell it.
The initial meeting, well, it all was church, but I recognized him one day at his job, because my best friend, we went to pick up her little sister from school that he was working at.
Mhm.
He was just at my church, I think like a week prior or something. I had seen him at my church with my god brother and things of
Mhm.
that nature. And I was, said to him, "Oh, I know you don't remember me." And he's like, "No." And I'm like, "You was just at my church last week." And he's like, so with that, like that dumb face, like, "Okay." So I was like, "I just saw you," like, or whatever. And at the end of the day, he didn't recognize, whatever. So I walked away. And when I walked away, I was like, "You don't need to know who I am anyway, you ugly son of a Jesus." And I called him ugly
Ugly
son
son of
of
a
a Jesus.
Jesus.
And uh sorry. Yeah. And that was it. And then the very next meeting, he was doing the revival at my church.
Uh-huh.
And I said to him again, I think after.
No, you ain't say
I
nothing
didn't
now.
say it then, right? I didn't say it then. I think we waited to after our first date, and then I mentioned it again. And then he was like, "Oh," and I was like, "Oh, had you known it was me, would you have dated me since you didn't recognize me that day?"
No, I would not have said a word to you had you. I remembered that you was the chick that called me an ugly son of a Jesus.
And she fell in love with that ugly son of a Jesus, right?
How about that?
Ain't that something? Ain't that about something?
So how long did y'all date before y'all got married?
One
One
year.
exactly 365 days.
What? Wow. And how long have y'all
Exactly
been married?
24 years now.
24 years. And that's a blessing, I tell you, because marriages, I mean, although because no marriage is perfect. So you're gonna go
Mm-mm.
through something, but look, y'all still here. And y'all still here to encourage somebody else. So that's a blessing in itself. So what was it about him that you fell in love with, being that, in the beginning you didn't like him? What was it about him that you said, you know what? I love this guy.
Wow.
Yeah, let's hear
The
that.
initial interesting factor about him was actually the way he walked.
Uh-huh.
It's really crazy, but he walked with like confidence, very masculine, like very like I just that was an immediate turn on for me. So I it piqued my interest after his walk, and then his conversation, of course. And um after, initially he was the spiritually grounded one for me, because I was still very much, as they quote unquote say, the street girl in the street. So for me, he was spirituality to help me see better, to help me do better. And then as I got to know who he was as a person, his his talent. He's very talented
Mhm.
in many areas. So that was like very, very interesting. It piqued my interest. He's a rapper. He did
Mhm.
calligraphy. He's a preacher. He did it. So that was points for him for me.
Right. And Bishop, what was it about Lady Artell that you know what was it about her that you wanted to be with her?
He don't know.
She was cute.
He don't know. He was just looking at the looks back then. He don't know. He don't know.
She was cute. You know what I like, I was preaching, like she said, I was preaching at her church, and I was in a transitional moment in my life where I was 25, 26 at the time. And I just realized that I wanted to settle down. Because I was an up and coming preacher at the time, so
Mhm.
you know my name was getting out there a little bit, and I thought that it would be better for me to settle down and you know
Mhm.
develop the stability of my life, because as a preacher, although I was a preacher, I was transitioning from the musician mentality, and the church musician mentality um, was dangerous.
Mhm.
That's what I'll say. And it was time to settle down. It was time to look to the future, like family and having children. And when I saw her at her church, I prophesied to her, I ministered to her,
Mhm.
and when she walked away, I heard the Lord say, "That's your wife."
Wow.
And so I inquired. I mean, I just, once I heard the Lord say, "That's your wife," I said, "Okay, well, I'll inquire." And
Mhm.
here we are.
Right. And now, why do y'all think adultery is the biggest, leading cause of divorce, and especially in the church?
Why do I think adultery is the leading cause
The
for?
the biggest leading cause of divorce. Sometimes it could be, financial or something, but it
Mhm.
seems as though adultery is the biggest leading cause. And
Mhm.
what's kind of strange too, when I think of certain couples that I know, when they weren't saved, they got along so well.
Mhm.
You saw
Mhm.
the love, and then soon as they said I do, and they in
Mhm.
the church, they can't seem to stay together.
Mhm. Well, I believe, because I can only speak for myself, I believe that the lack of, or the lack of being able to really understand when you get married that you become one with this person, and you have to daily make an attempt to become one with this person. It's not something that happens overnight. It happens daily, every single day. You have to try everything that you most possibly can to lock into that person and become one with that person. If it becomes too much of a challenge, then it's probably because, one, you were not ready, and two, there is still a measure of selfishness inside of you that does not want to share your space with the person that you have committed to being with.
Mhm.
Um, so adultery happens because you have not. Adultery happens because you have not conditioned yourself to be satisfied and content with the person that you are with. Now, content is different from satisfied. Content means I'm just going to deal with it. Satisfied means I'm going to see to it that this person makes me happy. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to do everything to see to it that this person makes me happy, even if that means I have to do everything to make that person happy.
Mhm.
Because if I do everything to make this person happy, they'll do everything in return to make me happy. And so that is so it, adultery happens because you're not settled.
Mhm.
And when you're not settled, you start looking for options and trying to pick in different areas because you're not settled.
Mhm.
So the one thing that has to happen in marriage especially in the marriages and the body of Christ, is people have to become settled, stable. The
Mhm.
scripture tells us that a double-minded man is unstable in all his ways.
Mhm.
So if you start to practice stability, being rooted like a tree, planted like a tree by the rivers of water, and not wavering and not going from the left to the right, but keeping your eyes focused and knowing that this person that you're with is your completion. This person that you're with is your wholeness, right? God created Adam and Eve, and when he created Eve out of the rib of Adam.
Mhm.
So Adam, once he pulled that rib out of Adam, Adam was incomplete until he saw Eve. And when he saw Eve, he became whole again. And you got to look at that woman
Mhm.
as your wholeness.
Right. So, Lady Artell, when y'all were going through that season where y'all thought y'all were gonna get divorced, how did you deal with it? What was the strength that you drew from that you stayed? Because I mean, I don't know what really happened, but I'm just saying, even after hearing the songs, I kind of took that was your testimony. So I know, and you mentioned it that you had messed up. So where did you draw the strength from to stay when you could have, because so many people just walking out quick, they don't even, they're not trying to work it out. The first time you mess up, they out the door. So where did you draw that strength from?
Um, to be honest, it was seeing how he was working towards repairing,
Mm-hmm.
going beyond. And sometimes it's, oh, people will change for a minute, just to do it, to get your attention or to um and then not for nothing. Outside it's just corny. It's whack. It was just too much energy to try to be outside. I've been married for so long. I starting to date again. It was just like, all right, this is too much. I gotta buy an outfit for every time I go out. I got something. It was just that I was like, I can't do this. This is too much. I'm not used to this. I've been married for so long. And not for nothing. Every time I would try to date somebody, he would always, like, you're not supposed to compare, but he was always
Mm-hmm.
there in the deep far end. So I felt like, well, God, is that you? Is you telling me to go back? Because I don't really want to. I don't feel like it. But you keep putting him, in my far vision, in my view.
Right.
So, that was that kind of thing. Because
No
I
one else compares to me.
Oh Lord, child, please.
Same for her, same for her.
Yeah, so it was, so that's really what it is, because I couldn't tell you that I was like praying or angry mad. I didn't have no feeling or no emotion behind it, to be honest with you. I think we were both at a place where it was okay for us not to be together. We had just came to a place was like, listen, this is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
We've done did our time. We just going. So I wasn't telling you that. I can't tell you that I was praying or prevailing or saying, Lord, fix my marriage. I wasn't. So at the point where God just kept him there
Uh-huh.
at in the far view, no matter what I did, I was like, all right, so are you telling me that I need to, just go on, go back? So
Mm-hmm.
that's really what it was. And seeing how, he was doing, the most as far as fixing and getting the family back together, and just I need to see difference, because it's not about that moment thing. Like, you need to show that you've matured in certain areas and doing things differently. And it can't be a momentarily thing. It has to be something that, again, this is a second go round. We're not going to do things differently, but I still need to see that what you did to get back to where you are, to get the family back, you need to continue to get there and mature. And
Right.
because it's been that way, then I can honestly say that it was a great decision for me to decide to, stay for the most part.
Right. And Bishop, what was the turning point for you that you said, you know what? Time to stop playing these games and get my family back.
The feeling of emptiness and misery, and you start getting older and you start realizing that you just spent 20, because at the time we were 21 years into our we were 20 years into our marriage, and we separated.
Mhm.
Um, and then there was like a 2.5 year separation, almost 3 years.
Mhm.
And within that 2.5 to 3 years, it was just a matter of you. I think I grew up. I think I grew up more in that 3 years than I may have ever grown up. It's almost like a teenager who is tall,
Mhm.
but out of nowhere there's a growth spurt,
Mhm.
and they go from 5'5" to like 6'11", right? um, I think that's what happened for me. I had a growth spurt, realizing that one, there's never going to be anybody like Artell, right? You can search as much as you want. You can try to be happy with somebody else, but how's that even possible? Like, how is it possible to create a family dynamic with another entity when you already have what you believe God
Mhm.
gave you, right?
Mhm.
Um, God doesn't lie. I
Right.
said that the Lord said that she was my wife.
Right.
So he doesn't lie, and he does not put people together so that they can get a divorce. So, that was one of the things that I had to take into consideration. I also had to take into consideration that we were going to be locked into one another for the rest of our lives
Mhm.
because of these children, because of our grandchild.
Mhm.
Like, there's never going to be another moment in my life where you're not there. If a
Right.
kid graduates, you're going to be there. If a kid gets married, you're going to be there. Like,
Mhm.
if a child grows up and accomplishes anything, you're going to be there. If anything happens to me, those kids you're going to be there for those kids. If
Right.
anything happens to you, I'm going to be there for these children. Like,
Right. Mhm.
this is like, it's really inseparable. And if it's that inseparable, then it's worth fighting for.
Yes.
And so the turning point was when I realized you got to stop acting like a kid and really embrace marriage
Mhm.
like an adult. Don't embrace marriage like a young person who's excited to get married.
Right.
Embrace marriage like a mature person who is excited about staying with this person,
Mhm.
because that's the difference. You get married, you're excited about getting married. But after that, there has to be a level of excitement about being with that person for the rest of your life.
So how do y'all keep the fire burning now? You know.
Time for a date. Matter of fact, I'm just saying, you got to go outside. We enjoy what you would do, not for nothing, on the outside with somebody else. You have to do that with your mate.
Uh-huh.
You want to go out, you want to go to the beach, you want to go to the pool, you want to go to eat dinner at the fence, you want to walk the ball, whatever it is
Yeah.
that exciting to the both of you, you have to make it work. Because why? This is one of the reasons why adultery happens, because somebody else is doing those quote unquote fun things that your mate is not doing,
Yeah.
Right.
and listening to you and understand you, even though I'm not saying that it still won't be times where y'all still need to have conversations, and things are going, but you still have to, if you don't like this, I don't like that show, but if this is movie night and that's what I want to watch tonight, hey, you gotta suck it up.
Right.
I do. I do. He has me watching wrestling. I have to watch all these new things now because this is what he's into. And I'm like, I really
Right.
don't want to watch it. So, but I'm saying to myself, all right, let me figure out who these people are. So at least when he's talking about them,
And she
I
needs
can
to
at
become
least
a Knicks fan
say,
now.
he wants me to become a Knicks fan. I am doing very well. I am rooting
Right.
for them because they are doing well. But I am a Boston fan. So that is conflict in the home. So I will be on the bandwagon while they're winning. I'm
Right.
okay because he's in the house and he watches it. So
Mhm.
for me, I just want my, Celtics to win.
Right.
But so what I'm saying is you just have to do those things that you quote unquote would do if you're dating, you have to date. You have to go
Right.
out. You have to, I mean, whatever, get dressed, do
Right.
something, what, do it. You have to do it
Right.
because why? You're gonna find somebody on the outside that's doing those things that you could just express to your mate that you would like to be done, or let's try, or and make it work.
Mhm.
That's
Uh-huh.
all.
And then sometimes you're gonna look on the outside and the grass always look greener, and then you're
It,
gonna end up coming back anyway.
I don't look at the
But
grass. The
but
the
let's talk
grass,
about
right.
let's talk about the album. What inspired the album? I listened to it, and I mean, I loved all of the songs, and I mean, I loved them. So, what inspired it? And did you write all the songs?
I wrote every last one of them.
Hmm.
Wow, that was
Um, I actually produced and co-produced every one of the songs. The album is actually inspired by the desire to reconcile my family. If you listen to it from top to bottom, from the song What the Hell Is Wrong With Me,
oh, I like that song.
all the way to Love Again.
Mhm.
It's just it's a musical diary. That's what Bishop Mitchell Taylor calls it, a musical diary about an individual that is going through. Every song that you hear is something that I was going through in my mind,
Right.
and it all led to, or was all a byproduct of, the reconciliation process. And so it's actually my second album, and it's the best album I love it. I
I
have one.
love it. I
I
tell
have
you,
another
I
one
truly
coming.
love it. I was listening to it. I was
Mhm.
listening to it all day today. But I know you mentioned that you're a pastor. How long have you been pastoring? And how long y'all had the church?
20 years.
20 years.
20 years.
Awesome.
20
Awesome.
years.
And
20
I know
years.
y'all have a banquet coming up, right? Tell us about the banquet.
The banquet is the 50 and 20 gala. It's 50 years of life. It's my 50th birthday and 20
Wow.
years of pastoring. And it's been a great journey. It's had its challenges, but it's been a great journey, and I'm excited about the banquet, which is on Friday, May 31st, the day after my birthday.
Wow.
Bishop Darius Nixon, one of my close friends, will be preaching. Professor James Hall in worship and praise will be singing.
Oh, it's gonna be awesome.
It's gonna be an event.
And there's a quote you said on the CD that I really love. You said marriage works when you do it the way God intended it to be. And that is so true because we find ourselves, trying to make these marriages work on our own when we really have to rely on God and do it His way. So that was one of the quotes, that I love. But what can both of you, y'all can both answer this. What advice can you give a married couple that, just want to throw in the towel? They feel like they don't want to go no further. Like, they just want to give up. What advice can you give a married couple to tell them to hang on in there? There's hope.
It's a five-letter word: fight.
Mm,
Fight. Um, yeah, fight. Conquer the bad times and then look back and laugh at the bad times.
mm-hmm,
Talk about everything. Listen first. Um, what I'm practicing is listening first.
mm-hmm,
I used to be quick to speak,
mm-hmm.
but the scriptures tell us to be slow to speak and eager to hear. And when you begin to hear the voices of those that you are committed to,
Mm-hmm.
it may it may broaden your understanding. It's definitely going to broaden your understanding, but fight, laugh at the bad times, and listen.
Mm-hmm. And you, Lady Artel?
For me, it's conversation, transparency, be real, talk about everything. You have to tell the partner what's the good things, what's the bad things, what you like, what you don't like, which was offensive, what you're thinking. I know it's hard because we like to be like, oh no, I can't. You have to. That is the only way you're gonna be able to get through it is if you are transparent about every little thing. Everything matters. Don't think nothing matters. Everything matters.
Right.
So that's my thing. Just talk about it and be willing to compromise in in whatever it is, whether you have to be quiet sometimes or whether you have to go watch wrestling sometimes, whatever it is, just be willing to see what your mate, is
Right.
saying or crying out. That's all.
Awesome. And I'm just want to say thank you to you guys. I mean, it's been such an honor and a pleasure just to have y'all on the show today. And I just want to give a shout out to Pastor Henderson, who, connected us, and Elder Ruby, who know me since I was a kid. I just wanted to give them a shout out. And I just want to just thank my viewers for tuning in. I encourage you to come back next week to watch another episode of the Keiwear Show. You can follow me on all social media platforms and on the internet. Lady ARTELL and Bishop Butler's information will be listed in the credits. I'll put on there where you can find their music. I'll put the information about their banquet on there so y'all can reach out and support them. And listen, remember, I love you guys. And remember, Keiwear is the key to knowledge. God bless you all, and I love you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Jason Hendrickson, and you're watching the Keiwear Show.
Yo, this goes out to all my new generation first ladies. I know they painted this picture that you had to be a certain way, but if you saved, then just be you. Just be you. Undergird that man, support that ministry. Be the truest you that you can be. She never been a typical first lady. Nah, she ain't the hypocritical first lady. It just means that she's a little different first lady. She to take me as I am, first lady. She never signed up for the seat of a first lady. She ain't gonna walk to the beat of a first lady. She keeps it real type of first lady. Not the big hat and the heels, first lady. More like the Timberland boots, first lady. Got the streets down in her roots, first lady. She the ride or die kind of first lady. Really not the type to cry, first lady. Tough skin on the outside, first lady. Say what she want with her eyes, the first lady. She gives me butterflies, first lady. If you hurt her, you can die, first lady. See from a mile away, first lady. Them chicks that be trying to play the first lady. She know how to keep them at bay, first lady. She could punch you dead in your face, the first lady. She a different type of saved, first lady. Female version of Peter, first lady. There for you night and day, first lady. New generation leader, first lady. I know it's a little rough, I know it's crazy. I know they looking at you, they got their eyes on you. They trying to figure out what you gonna wear, what you gonna say. All you trying to do is be a good wife and support that man. While he follow after God, you following after him. There can only be one first lady. Roll over in the morning and see first lady. Somebody need to teach you how to treat first lady. Communication is the way to reach first lady. Meet first lady. She the first lady. I need first lady. Sweet first lady. Never in my life could I delete first lady. For the rest of my life I try to keep first lady. From across the room I can peep first lady. And when we are alone, she the free first lady. She the type to make you wanna leave first lady.